And Simon Rosenberg, president and founder of the New Democrat Network, forgive me on that one. Also, Ben Ferguson, syndicated radio host on Icon Radio Network. Simon, you're saying that, in fact, this is a good idea, that someone has to pay for it. It shouldn't be taxpayers. And, in fact, it's big oil that should effectively be taxed to clean up the mess that they essentially, you say, are responsible for?
I think what the president said yesterday is that he's interested in ending subsidies to the oil companies, not putting new taxes, but ending subsidies and turning that money into investments in clean technology. And I think what the president's trying to do, and I think it's his job, is to balance the need to increase domestic production here at home, to end our reliance on foreign oil, which is an immediate and urgent task domestically, along with the other urgent task, which is to end our reliance on fossil fuels and move to a more clean energy environment. And I think we're going to see a very big debate about that in Congress next few weeks.
But Simon, I just want to know who should pay for all this.
Well, I think what the proposal was yesterday was to end existing subsidies for very profitable companies. And I think what I would add is that what might be a great compromise would be to eliminate subsidies for the big companies, right? ExxonMobil, companies that are making billions of dollars, but to keep them for the smaller, more innovative companies that are working in the Gulf to increase our domestic production here at home.
Ben, what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you tax just those who've caused the problem? In other words, essentially they just have to pay for what they do, or do you penalize everybody?
No, what worries me is the White House is now trying to use this to make clean. The fact of the matter is we should make the companies that are in charge of the oil spill clean it up. And I don't think that, as this White House has done, trusting BP to be in charge of the cleanup, I don't trust BP because they're looking at their bottom line. And you know this, if they can hold money in their accounts and wait an extra 3 or 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Look at Pensacola, Florida, yesterday. 3 weeks ago, they asked for a measly $150,000 for shifters and a crane to help them get ready for the oil spill that's going to hit there this weekend. They still have gotten nothing from BP. So when you have a spill, maybe the government says, you know what, we're going to take X numbers of dollars automatically and put it in escrow, and then we're going to give it to people to clean up the mess. You're going to pay for it. But to tax everyone or to somehow say we're going to get clean energy because of this disaster is ridiculous.
Do you think ultimately, Simon, that if we do see these subsidies being rolled back on the oil companies, that eventually someone's going to pay, and ultimately it's probably going to be the consumer?
Well, I think we are paying a lot now because of the mistake of BP as a society. I mean, we're seeing an entire region of the United States potentially destroyed. And I think what we're learning about the oil industry and fossil fuels is these are toxic, dangerous things that we're burning in the air and destroying our environment and that are causing incredible damage here at home. So I think the goal should be to increase domestic production, to end our dependence on foreign oil as much as possible, but to accelerate the needed transition we have to go through to a clean energy economy. And I think the president's trying to balance both of these needs at the same time.
This is what drives me crazy about this debate. We're sitting there talking about things that are not possible for average Americans to pay for right now, like electric cars and wind turbines and all this other stuff. There's ways that you can make this safer, and I think we all agree with that, but you have to hold the companies accountable when it happens and make them pay for it.
I don't think anybody's arguing. I don't think anybody's arguing the other side, by the way. I don't think anyone's arguing against you. I don't think anyone's arguing the other side of your point.
What the president is proposing and what you're talking about with subsidies is going to pass the buck on to the average consumer, which is going to hurt low-income individuals more than anybody else that are already strapped for cash to the pump right now. If you're a millionaire, you can afford what you want to do with all the extras. Most Americans cannot afford that right now.
Are you saying, just let me make sure I understand, that if ExxonMobil gets $100 million less in subsidies from the United States, that all of that is immediately going to be transferred to the price of the pump at the consumer level?
I think you're smart enough to understand that big companies pass the buck on when they can to keep their profits high because that's their job. They'll do it. And if you believe that Exxon Oil is not going to do that, or BP, I think you're naive at best, sir.
Okay.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much. They stopped all on their own. How about that?
I was hoping it would keep on going. I was enjoying